Minnie Impey was only 6 years old, but when she hit that icy cold water and the force of the jump pulled her out of her father's arms and she went down under the water, the coldness pushed every bit of air out of her lungs, and she knew she was going to die. Now, Minnie Impey lived back in 1861. She was 6 years old at the time when her family decided to leave Ontario and come to live in Michigan. Now, Minnie was the second of 5 children. She had an older sister, 2 younger sisters, and a baby brother named Christopher. Now, when their parents began to talk about getting some of that good, cheap land in Michigan, Minnie thought, that would be an adventure. Her older sister, she thought they should stay where they were, but no, Minnie was ready to go. Now, they planned to leave earlier in the year, but then the baby Christopher was born, and so it was already October before the family boarded a ship in Sarnia, Ontario, because the only way you could really get to northern Michigan in those days was to travel by the water. They boarded the ship and they started north up through Lake Huron, and the weather was getting progressively worse, and by the time they reached Northport, they'd been through some pretty rough weather. Now, Minnie's mom, she thought surely they would spend a day or two in Northport waiting for the weather to calm down, because they still needed to travel from Northport across Grand Traverse Bay to a little place known as Pine River. You won't find Pine River on any map today, but you will find a place called Charlevoix. They changed the name later. That's where Mr. Impey planned to set up a sawmill there on the lake shore and make some money from all that timber that was still standing. But when they got off the boat, that first boat that took them up Lake Huron and through the straits and over to Northport, when they got off that boat and thought they would wait a couple days to go across the bay, the captain of the boat that was to take them across said that this late in the season, there was a good chance that the weather wouldn't get any better. As a matter of fact, it might get worse, and so he was going to make the trip that very day, and if they wanted to go along, then fine, they should get on the boat. If they wanted to stay in Northport, they may be there all winter. Well, there was no reason. There was nothing to keep them in Northport. They didn't have any land there. They didn't have enough money to be able to support themselves through the winter, and so they got on